So, my topic for today is why the Bible was written to a people group and not an audience. Today, I want to talk about why so many people feel confused when they read the Bible. And I want to be clear from the beginning, this is not about telling you you're wrong. It's about how we've been taught to read scripture. We've been taught to read scripture, and how we read scripture determines what we think it says. Here's the core truth I want you to hear me say today. All right. The Bible was written to a people group, not to a modern audience. That doesn't mean the Bible isn't for us. It just means it wasn't originally written about us. The scriptures were written to a covenant people in a specific time with a shared language, a shared culture, and shared understanding. We are not the original recipients. We are what I like to call readers in. And a lot of confusion happens when we assume the Bible was written directly to us. Instead of us learning, you understand who it was written to first. Ancient texts didn't explain everything. They didn't stop to define cultural norms. They didn't pause to give background information. Why? Because they didn't need to. The original audience already understood the culture, they already understood the language and the covenant framework. So, reading scripture today without understanding that context is like walking into a conversation that started long before you arrived and then trying to answer as if you heard the beginning, right? Or imagine reading someone else's mail from 2,000 years ago and assuming every sentence was written with you in mind. You know, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make you wrong, all right? But that doesn't make sense. It just means you're missing the framework. Here's where the problems show up for us today. Most of us were taught to read the Bible as a personal devotional book, as something meant to inspire us, to encourage us, speak directly to our emotions. And while scripture can encourage you, that was never the starting point. When we approach the Bible, primarily asking, what does this mean to me? We unintentionally shift the focus from formation to feeling. Western reading tends to be individual, emotional, inspirational, and verse centered. We pull out a verse and ask how it applies to our life. But the Bible was written in an Eastern Hebraic context. And that style of writing is communal, it's covenantal, it's instructional, and it's story centered. It assumes identity before application. Western reading asks, what does this mean to me? But Eastern reading assumes this tells us who we are and how we walk together. So when we read an Eastern text with a Western mindset, we don't become rebellious or heretical. We become confused. Verses gets isolated. Meaning becomes emotional. Interpretation becomes private. And then people end up frustrated because they're trying to apply something they were never oriented to understand. This is why so many sincere believers say things like, I read the Bible, but I'm still confused, or I hear different teachings and don't know who's right. I love God, but something feels off. Listen, that's not failure, that's misorientation. So let me say this clearly. The Bible was not written to affirm individuality. It was written to form a people. Yeah. And so that doesn't mean you can't read scripture personally or devotionally or find encouragement in it. It means those things were never supposed to be the starting point. Here is the anchor I want you to remember. the solid thing, all right? The Bible doesn't start with application. It starts with orientation. Yeah. The Bible doesn't start with application. It starts with orientation. If this teaching feels like it's rearranging things for you, that's not confusion. That's reorientation. Foundations matter because anything built on misunderstanding eventually collapses under pressure. Yeah. So there's more structure behind this than I can unpack right here. But this is where learning to read scripture accurately actually begins. My final thought is, if this resonates with you, you're in the right place. Shalom.